Our theme today is leaves. So I thought with the change of seasons, it kind of varies where you are in the States, but we're heading into the late summer, early fall. And where I am in the Midwest, we had a nice little 2 week period of fall and some leaves started changing and falling down. And now we're back into second summer. So we're in the 77s to almost 80s for the next couple days. But that's pretty classic for the Midwest. But with the change of seasons comes, all kinds of things from barometric pressure, which we all know and love with migraine, to the crisper temperatures, to all of these colors with the leaves. And I wanted to use that for our inspiration this week. So let's dive on in. This painting that I have on the main screen, probably everyone has seen his work. His name is Leonid Afremov, and he does these really nice paintings with a palette knife to get some texture here in the leaves with kind of more flat aspects of color that are textured that you can almost see without even having to be in front of the painting. You can almost see and feel the texture that he puts here in the leaves and the trees, as well as the path. So really, really nice texture and colors there. So some quotes to think about as we dive into our mindfulness session today. As the leaves begin to fall off the trees, one is always tempted to admire the beauty that they possess. Autumn is a season that shows us the beauty that even the most seemingly insignificant things possess. And then that's a quote by Unknown. All sorrow and worry seem to fade away when autumn arrives. The winds of autumn take away the ugliness of life and gives you an opportunity to begin again with a clear mind. So today, of course, I want you to be in the present moment and try to forget all the stresses of the week that we just finished, are about to finish. Almost like this painting, you can kind of put everything in the distance with black and white over here and leave different aspects like this very moment in color at the forefront. More inspiration to think about today. Autumn leaves don't fall, they fly. They take their time and wander. On this is their only chance to soar. So just thinking about all these leaves that end up on the ground, they fall from the trees, but they kind of fly and soar. It's a beautiful watercolor painting over here on the right side. Look at the different shapes of the leaves. Think of the different colors from greens and oranges and yellows, purples even. And we also want to think about reflection with mindfulness today. This watercolor is by an artist, Dean Krauser. And one of the things I want to think about and want to kind of let you guys think about as you're making your piece today is something that, we all think about leaves falling from the tree. It's autumn, the leaves are dying, they fall from the tree. However, I want you to think about, why do the leaves fall from the tree? If they didn't, the tree would suffer and not make it through the winter. So it's a protection for the tree. It's a defense mechanism. The leaves are more prone to water and freezing, and if they freeze, the branches will lose their vitality and the tree will lose its life. So leaves falling from the tree is not just a symbol of we're heading into winter and the leaves are dying. It's a protection, it's a defense mechanism. So not all defense mechanisms are bad, and a lot of our defense mechanisms are good, similar to how we approach migraine and the things we do to possibly avoid migraine or to still live a good quality of life with migraine. So allow your mind to wander today with our painting and art session and separate your worries and thoughts from the surface. So we're going to draw leaves. Now you can do any shape you want. Fill it in with color, without color, because again, we have a lot of different types of leaves and different inspirations here. There's also leaves in the summer that are very green, so you don't have to be doing autumn leaves in our inspiration session today. And I'll try to show my screen and what I'm working on too. So we're gonna start and dive on in there and make some leaves. In a few moments, we'll start to share and tie up our pieces. So we have a few minutes to discuss some of the thoughts, if we want to, behind our leaf inspirations today. So I know these sessions go by fast, but I'll start off with showing mine and everyone can continue to work on theirs. And if you want to share, you can. But I'll just kind of show you what I put together. So let me make sure I have one big leaf in the middle of the screen and then some other leaves behind it.
Dr.
And
Evan, maybe can you stop sharing your screen? That way we'll be able to see it bigger.
oh, yes, absolutely. Good reminder. Where's my cursor? Okay. So now tell me if this is better.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a big leaf and a couple kind of other bigger leaves in the middle and a couple other things going on the side. My inspiration for this was a few things. So all I had was like a marker and these really interesting multicolor pen tips that I thought was kind of great for leaves because I tend to want to always be in control of things and organized. And with this, you can't really pick the color you're putting on the paper. So if you want an orange leaf, you may or may not get an orange leaf. So I think it was a nice kind of outlet that the leaf will become whatever color it wants to be, whether it's blue, yellow, orange. And it's just this really interesting pencil I found at the local craft store that just is really cool. So I incorporated that for the color parts, but I used like a bold, just plain black marker to provide some movement textures because I liked that quote that said, the leaves don't fall from the trees, they soar and they fly. So it's all about perspective. You know, we think of our days and our journeys and our lives as we get what we get. But if you look at it from any other perspective, to others, you might be soaring, even though you feel like you're falling. So I incorporated some different textures that kind of play with the leaf maybe being in different parts of dying and different parts of being alive. And then another thing that I was thinking about while drawing mine is if you're a rose gardener, you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you're not, you'll think I'm crazy. But roses get this like black fungal spot disease. And mine have been like decimated this summer because it's so humid in the Midwest. And I guess I didn't put the preventative stuff like I'm supposed to. So that's the focus on preventative migraine treatment. But I didn't do that for my roses. So I was playing catch up towards the end of the summer, and it was almost therapeutic for me to go out every day after work or after clinic with my kids, my small kids, and pick the fungal leaves off the plant because they basically suck the energy and the nutrition off the plant. So it was not only therapeutic to pick the little leaves off and to make the plant feel better and healthier, but they kind of affect the leaves in really interesting ways. Like the leaf will all look fine, and then it'll have like a really well circumscribed kind of blackish yellow spot. So I just thought that since I am such a rose fan, I might incorporate it into my piece and how that makes me feel and maybe how the plant feels. So a lot of things I think you can think about when you think about nature and leaves and how it can be similar or different to our own lives. What did you guys put together if you want to share?
Any takers?
Or if you just want to comment on black fungal spot disease on roses.
Oh, well, I really do want to go look at my roses now.
I've been
And I
deeply
know
saddened.
nothing about them, so I'm very curious. Well, I'll share. Maybe that'll help other people feel
Sure.
brave. Um, so I don't see. For
I
me,
love
this was, I usually sketch with a pencil first. And so I challenged myself to not do that. And then I like my first one, let's see if I can, is this one, which like doesn't even have a leaf shape. So then I thought maybe I should look at your example for at least a shape. But then this part is I started thinking about what the sidewalk and ground looks like when I go for a walk this time of year. And I'm in California. We have a lot of acorns. I think this year might be more than
it.
usual. And so it's like acorn dust in the streets where all the cars have kind of smashed the acorns into it.
Oh,
So then I realized, well, that's not leaves. Maybe I should get back to leaves. But um,
very cool.
yeah, it was nice to.
So I love that one next to the acorn, the one that was the acorn dust reminder or the leaves on the ground. It draws your eye to it with all the smaller. It's almost like pointillism, which I love. And then the lime green leaf, I love him as a pop of color because we think of reds and oranges and browns in fall, but there's actually a lot of green and green yellow and green red on the same leaf. So even though green's not a traditional fall color, there's still a lot of green in the autumn. So it's beautiful. I love it.
Thank you. Who else wants to share? Sally?
This is Sally. And you can unmute yourself if you want to tell us about it.
Okay, so I live in California now,
Nice.
and I used to live in the Midwest, and I was a teacher. And the idea of leaves reminded me of a poem. Red, yellow, green, and brown, all the leaves are falling down. And we used to do that in first grade. And so I just thought about all the different leaves, the colors, the red. Yeah, but I started out was with crayon, and then I found some markers and just did a bunch of leaves.
I
And
love
so it
that.
kind of reminds me that school's going to start. And, out here in California, I live in the desert. It's still, 100 and something degrees here.
Yeah.
So you're not feeling that way. But I remember September was the start of school, the excitement of
Yep.
getting the new dress for the first day, of meeting the kids, all of that.
Oh, so your piece has a lot of like fond memories as your
Reflection, right.
inspiration, and you did a lot of reflection. And I love the pops of red in there that were so bright.
Right. And
Because
the
it's
green, there's
good
green.
color. I
Because,
love the green. And then the interesting thing is my eye is drawn to the middle color, which I think is purple. It wasn't in your poem, but I kind of like
well,
that.
you know what? It kind of was supposed to be the brown, but it's purple. But that's
That's what I
okay.
agree. I think it was supposed to be your brown, but it looks
Right.
purplish in the
It
screen. And I
is.
love
It
purple
is.
as a color in nature because
Yeah.
you don't think of it in nature. But if you
Right.
look at the sky, if you look at the ground and leaves, there's actually so much purple.
Right. Right. That's true.
Very nice. I love that interpretation and inspiration.
Actually, blueberries are not blue, they're purple.
Yep, I agree. And then what's the other thing? Red onions. Why do we call them red onions when they're clearly purple?
Blue is an extremely rare color in nature.
Yep, it is. Very hard to find blue flowers or if you're doing like blue fruit for smoothies.
And blue roses are very expensive.
I had one called Blue Girl, and it was more of like a blue purple. And it kind of was barely in my zone, and it did last a few seasons, but I love it. And the smell was like the purest lemon. It's like fresh squeezed lemon, but it's called Blue Girl. It's a very pretty rose.
You're pretty bad.
Christine, I see you're holding yours up. Did you want to tell us about it?
I don't really have any thoughts, probably too many cognitive impairments from migraine attack. In fact, when I do the art, I try not to really think at all. I try to just, have it be kind of a break from thinking. But I
Yeah.
love all the inspiration that you guys are sharing about colors and gardening and all of these wonderful things. And thank you, as always, for having these events.
Well, I thank you for being here. Now, I may or may not be welcome in this, but sometimes the fun of doing things is getting other people's interpretation.
Okay.
Almost like when you go to like what do you call it? Like someone who listens to your things and gives you their thoughts of it. Or the best example I can think of is like if you had a weird dream, right? And you tell your friend, like, I had a dream and there was like chickens flying. What do you think that means? And they're like, I think it means, and they just like tell you whatever they think, and you're like, really? So what I would say from the outward perspective is the thing that catches my eye about yours is the direction of the leaves. You have half of the leaves going in an upward to the right direction, almost in a curvature, and the other half, the smaller ones on the left, are going upward in a left direction. So there's a lot of vibe of movement in your piece. And I really like that you don't think when you're doing it, you just let it come out, because afterward you can kind of look back and say, hey, what does this look like to me, if you wanted to reflect on it afterward. But I see a lot of movement, so it makes me think of dynamic and changes.
That was probably also because of that phrase that you said. What was the word? Not movement, something about the leaves soaring, right? Not
Yep,
falling.
exactly.
So
I love that word.
I think that clung in my brain, and then out it came.
Yeah, I love that word. We don't use it a lot, and yours really gives a lot of movement and visualization to that word soar.
Well, thank you guys for having these. It's so nice.
Thank you. Anyone else of our last couple that want to share? And you don't have to, but you're always welcome to. Tom, I see, is holding up his.
If you can see this, you probably know it's fall in Philadelphia, and the
Yeah.
Green Center today has all the mums, the
Oh,
pumpkins, because it's getting cool now. It's in the 60s, so I bought some mums, put them out front. I didn't buy the pumpkin yet because it's still too warm. The kids
yeah.
squash them, so we'll buy the pumpkin like keep it on the kitchen table. But I look forward to this all day today. I had to see a doctor. I'm going to get some surgery next week, and not a big deal, but I look forward to this event because I checked my email and I thought, oh, I'm going to get my mind off of things here. I'll get to draw. I have my Plizia, what do they call these things? Water-based markers. I got them at Retreat
Nice.
Migraine in 2020, actually, during the pandemic, but
Wow.
my construction paper. But I enjoy saving these things. I put the name and the date, and I have a folder of all the art that we've done on this event, and I save them and I hang them up somewhere here in my work area. But thank you so much, Ken.
Oh,
Thank you for being one of over only 700 headache specialists, as we learned at Miles for Migraine last weekend.
yeah.
One of a few, and I think Shirley said that it's one for every 40,000 people with migraine or something. We have a specialist where you wait 6 months. But thank you for being there for us and for helping us live with the disease. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I appreciate that. You know, it's funny you mention that because just today I was at clinic and a new like admin person was being taken on a tour down the hallways, and she popped her head in my room between patients and she's like, who are you? And I was like, oh, my nurse introduced me. This is our new headache doctor. She's been here about 4 or 5 months. And she was like, headache? Oh, neurologist. We needed neurology at this location because I'm at a more community hub of the main VA medical center in Chicago, the 3rd largest city. And obviously not everyone in the world lives in Chicago. So you live in these suburbs and there's no neurologists, even though you're part of a VA network, which is a huge network, or you're in like a pretty big city of 40,000 people and there's no outpatient neurologist. There's no headache specialist. So they were just so appreciative that you're here doing headache and neurology. And she said something like, don't go anywhere or don't leave. And I was like, I know every single day I get a message, a text, or an email from some recruiter saying, we have this position looking for a headache neurologist. Come here. We need this headache neurologist. Like every single day I get a new offer to move somewhere else for a new headache job. And it's like, I wish I could live and work everywhere, but I can only do one spot. So um, I appreciate that, and I love what I do. And for you, I just want to make the comment of mums are very hard to draw, and I like the shape of the little petals that you did there because I love painting and drawing, and I cannot paint mums. Like it's extremely hard, but those little leaves that you did, those petals have the exact kind of shape that's slightly curved, but also slightly oblong. So
Thank you.
mums are a beautiful fall flower, and I love their scent. It's like hard to describe, but it's beyond fresh, the smell of mums. Well, I had so much fun today with this session. Does anyone else want a chance to share before and you don't have to, but I just want to make sure everyone, if you're shy, gets a chance. I really appreciate everyone being here today. And as the weeks go on and we get a little bit deeper into fall, don't hesitate to take out a piece of paper and just look at the leaves and see what comes out. You can do it anytime. You could sit outside on the front step of your house like I do and just play with the leaves as if you're a kid.
That's so nice. I like that you shared too that, the leaves falling is protective. Like because
Yeah, I
so
actually,
often I look at it as like, the death of the leaf.
I know.
I like this new
I
image.
just thought about that on the drive home from work because I used to love autumn. And then as I've gotten older, I kind of hate autumn because it's like, oh, everything's dying. And I love how summer's growing and spring is blooming. And you always think of spring and summer as like the green and the new and the babies are the birds and all this stuff. But then fall is like death and everything's turning brown. However, if you think deeper about it, there is new rebirth and it's how it's kind of changing its nutrient status to prepare for the next season. And the leaves falling is protective. So we all have to do things to be protective of ourselves. So it's a natural cycle.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Evan, and everyone for being here and taking this time. I will go over just a few of the upcoming things to entice you. So Miles for Migraine, they're kind of in a strange order, but they're all in October. For those of you near Philly with a family, there's a family education event on October 20th. And then if you're near Atlanta or you want to tune in virtually, there's a Mastering Migraine event on October 26th, and that's going to be a combination of presentations and interactive sessions. Our next mindfulness series event will be on the 17th, and it's going to be yoga. And then on the 20th, there'll be the next social series, and that's going to be another art project called Unmasking Your Migraine. So you'll get to make a migraine mask. I don't think there's any like really strong rules about that. So if you like art, just come register for that one. And then of course there's ongoing support groups. So hope to see you back at the mindfulness series, but also at some of the other events as well. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening and enjoy the leaves.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.